All right, it's time for step 2 of the modeling process. So where we left off was we had one side capped, this side is open. I'm going to go ahead and cap this. Now there's a few different ways you could approach this. I can mirror this object and rotate it 90 and then go ahead and just kind of butt it up to this, and I could either join them together. But the way that I actually want to do it is I'm going to go ahead and just fill this hole, and I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other side, which is I'm just going to grab the face here, do an extrusion, and then I'm going to offset it by 0.05 like so. It is not liking that, so might have to solve a few things there. It looks like the inset looks good, but it doesn't like something. So let's go ahead and finish that. Just hit W to drop it. Now the way I could fix this is I could go ahead and start joining some extra edges in here. So basically kind of come like this, and just looking at what I have sitting over here, you can see just doing that, I can join from here to here, like so. And it looks like I missed this guy. Let's try that one more time. Join from there to there. There we go. And as you start basically joining these up, like just add an edge loop in, join this to this, you'll start fixing issues that you're having. So like for instance right here, we can see something right like here. So this is just a little bit of cleanup work if you're going to do this correctly. I can just move that back like so. I'm not going to see this sidewall, so it doesn't really matter to me whether or not this is like super clean. If I was going to see it, I might take more concern. But since I'm not, I'm just going to basically cut this guy up so it just fixes the problems, which is the problems being these geometry pieces overhanging. So as I get closer to patching this up, you'll see that the problems start to go away. So watch, see how that starts to go away. I can grab this here and just click over to here. Now this isn't clean modeling per se, but like I said, this is going to be hidden. For that matter, it doesn't really make a big difference that it's not perfect. Let me just undo that. So I'm going to do this. I'll drop another edge loop right here, and I'll just join this guy to this. So basically, I'm going to keep doing this across the whole thing until I basically have the side patched up. And I'll make sure that pieces like this are fixed so that they're not crossing over. And I'll probably just patch that up to something down here. So anyway, what I'll do is I'm going to pause the video, and after I cleaned it up, I'm going to go ahead and show you what the end results look like. Alright, so here's an all quad solution to the side panel. It's a bit messy, but like I said, no one's going to see it. But I'll go ahead and just do a subdivide here. You can see that it's nice and clean. Even if I select it, it really doesn't look too terrible. It does work. But if you want to see another, see this live, see me do this, I can do a version of this on this side, and that will be for an extra video, so you don't have to sit here and watch me do something that you're never going to see. So for this side, though, you can see we've got a problem. Obviously this doesn't work well, but what happens if we go and grab this face and go up to mesh and say triangulate? Well, we don't triangulate everything else, we just triangulate just this face, and it does make sure that we don't have a weird n-gon and things are connected. And so if I go ahead and hit 3 now, a little bit better, not fantastically better, but a little bit. But we're missing one key ingredient, and that is an edge loop holding this side. So let's drop one of those in there and see what happens. So we're just going to drop an edge loop right there. And now let's go ahead and see what happens. Object mode and good old smooth. All right, now it works. It ain't pretty, but it works. So my tip of advice would be that, well, I'll say one more thing. Let's drop one in the middle too. Let's drop a couple more. So let's go like this. Let's just drop one there, and we'll drop one closer here, and then maybe we'll just even drop one in the middle, like so. Okay, so now let's see it. Back to my tip of advice. If you're handing in an art test and they're going to scrutinize on your model, then I would do everything clean. If you're modeling just for, you know, the sake of it, and you've got areas that no one's ever going to see, I don't think that anyone's going to care that you basically did this area fast and cheap. Obviously, they would never even know. But here's an area that looks basically pretty hard surface, you know, decently done. Here's one that's just, you know, triangulated. You can get away with triangulations on flat surfaces typically. So that's why this is actually working and doesn't look bad. But if it's going to be scrutinized, then definitely make sure that you have it clean, at least like this. In the next video, I will show you, or I should say in an addendum video, I will show you how to do a very good clean one. Because in actuality, if we really get down to it, there's a lot of edges in this model that probably don't need to be here. So we could probably clean this up and make it a lot easier. Okay, that being said, let's go on to the next part, which is let's just duplicate this, Control D. Then we will go to Mesh. Let's go actually delete the history. Then go to Mesh and then Mirror. And why, for the life of me, Maya keeps opening up my option boxes this large, I cannot figure out. It just keeps doing it. I don't know why. All right, so anyway, so we're going to mirror it, and we want to mirror it along the x-axis would be fine. It's going in that direction, so we'd say x, and we want it on the positive x. And I don't want to merge anything. Actually, what I want to do is turn off the cut, and I'm going to make a copy. So I'm just going to basically turn that off and hit apply. Let's see. I should have an extra one here. Okay, let's try that one more time. Apply. Okay, well, apparently I didn't freeze my transformations, so I'm not getting this thing going on the right axis. So I can just change that. That's what we want. Okay. And that's good. So I'll actually just delete that. This is what we're looking for. And if I go to my pivot, let's look at where my pivot's at. Let's just move that pivot up to this corner. It's kind of wiggling all over the place. I'm going to zoom in here. Make sure I'm getting it right in the corner. Let's see. One more time. There we go. Now I'm going to snap this corner to the other corner. And I'm hitting the wrong key on my keyboard, and that's why it's snapping to the grid. Let's see if we can get this in the right spot now. So there we go. That should do it. So now that that's there, all we have to do is rotate this. So I'm going to hold J, start rotating. And if everything is done correctly, I should get this right where I want it. And so you may ask, well, why not just join the two? Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. So if I hit 3 on this and I hit 3 on this, check out this little seam in here. See that little seam? I actually want that little seam. Let's close this so we can look at it better. I want that. Why? Because that looks realistic. You know, this wood would actually be cut and they'd just put these two pieces of wood together and they would join them together, maybe glue and dowel rods or something like that. I'm not a carpenter, but my brother is, and I've seen him work a little bit. And so that's how you would kind of do that. I think that looks better. You could join them if you wanted and not even worry about patching up the edges, but I think this looks actually better. So from here, as you can imagine, doing the rest of the window would be just a matter of basically maybe pulling some verts down, like so. And we got to turn this off. Doing something like this. And there you go. Let's turn the grid off. You can see it better. And you just lay this thing out the way you want it, and you've got your perimeter. And the original piece that we had that I hid, I think it's still in here somewhere. There it is. This original piece, that would be your trim on the bottom. And then in between those, you would just have a block. Okay, so this is kind of a quick, you know, sort of tutorial on this, but it's just kind of get people going in the right direction on how you might do this. I'm going to do a little addendum to this, which is I'll go ahead and just live create the rest of the edge here in a proper way so you can see the clean way to do this. So that's coming next. Alright, just to cap this lesson off, I wanted to show you what it might look like if you have it all finished. This is just the original piece mirrored over, and I removed a few edge loops. This is the one side, and then I just mirrored it over here. And then this is our original piece that we built, and then I just put a block in here and I gave it some edge loops to hold it. And that's about it, other than the wall. Definitely want to put like your wall having some depth, because you don't want it to actually look like some empty, you know, flat plane that has no volume. So that's an important part. But you know, if you want to get really more accurate, you can have some tracks. You can put like, you know, so windowsills and, you know, something that like window glass panes and stuff like that. But this would just be kind of a general window that's cut in the wall. So from this, you should be able to build the rest of the pieces, and the next tutorial is just going to be on how to cap this side off cleanly, and you don't have to watch that if you don't want to, because I kind of showed like the generic way to do it. But if you're interested in seeing the right way, then watch the next video.